I often work with our crew, who are a great bunch. They're hard-working, but also up for a laugh, and part of what makes me get out of bed each day. It's really quiet first thing, but there's always a lot to clean. Sometimes it's a bit of a mess, and there's rubbish scattered around. I clean the footpath, the street furniture, the bins, and remove graffiti off public buildings. I like it. It keeps me busy. It feels pretty satisfying to know that at the end of each day I've made Sydney Road look a little better for everyone who lives, works and visits here. Cleaner streets make it a nicer place to shop too, and that helps our local traders. And as everyone starts their day and the shop's open, I get to meet some lovely community members and their dogs. Everyone knows Sydney Road is legendary. We should all show it some love.
Libraries are the heart of our community. They connect us, inspire us, and support lifelong learning.
Whether it's borrowing books, thank you,
learning how to use computers,
getting creative in our makerspaces,
or simply having a welcoming space to belong, the library is the place to be.
We're always evolving our spaces, collections and services to meet the diverse needs of our wonderful community.
I love my library. It's a safe place to be, it's inclusive. I always find something new that interests me. It's not just the place for books anymore.
A library has something for people of all ages.
And is a place of discovery, events and learning at every stage of life. It's your library. Visit us today.
Did you know that Merri-bek is home to a diverse community where more than 95 languages are spoken? That's why we offer information on council services in your language. If you received a rates notice that you don't understand, would like to request a new bin, or have another question for council, we can help. We have free in-person and phone interpreters who can help you communicate with staff at council in your language. To request an interpreter, simply call 92401111 and ask one of our customer service staff to organize one for you. You can also request an interpreter at one of our customer service centers, libraries, or maternal and child health centers. At Merri-bek, we're proud of our diverse community and we want to make sure everyone can access our services. For more information about our language services, please visit our website.
Wheel Sisters came about after some women in Fort.
Good evening, councillors, members of the gallery and to our viewers live streaming tonight's meeting. My name is Councillor Nat Abood and I am the Mayor of the Merri-bek City Council and the Chairperson of tonight's council meeting. It is my pleasure to welcome you to tonight's special council meeting. We are meeting on the lands of the Wurundjeri Woiwurrung people. We wish to acknowledge them as the traditional custodians of these lands and waterways, and we would also like to pay our respect to their elders past, present and emerging, as well as to all First Nations communities who significantly contribute to the life of this area. This council meeting is being recorded and web streamed live to council's website and YouTube. This recording will also be available as video on demand. Attendees are advised that they will be recorded during the meeting. A reminder that as councillors, we will act in accordance with the Councillor Code of Conduct, which will support the principles of leadership and good governance that secures public confidence in the office of councillor. In the event of an emergency or disruption, we may be required to take action to ensure the safety of attendees. For members of the gallery and councillors attending in person, please follow the directions issued by council staff and security officers. Thank you for your understanding and cooperation. I'd like to introduce the other councillors in attendance tonight. Councillor Jay Iwasaki, the Deputy Mayor.
Hi, everyone.
Councillor Helen Davidson.
Good evening.
Councillor Liz Irvin.
Hi, everyone.
Councillor Chris Miles.
Evening.
Councillor Helen Politis.
Good evening, everyone.
Councillor Katarine Theodosis.
Good evening, everyone.
And Councillor Oscar
Good evening.
Yildiz. And do we have Councillor Svensson online? We expect that Councillor Svensson will be joining us online, and Councillor Bolton is expected to join us in the chamber. I'd also like to introduce the Acting Chief Executive Officer, Eamon Fennessy, and the senior management team. Have I had any, Councillor Miles?
I'd like to move suspension of standing orders to give the Mayor an opportunity to speak on what happened on Sunday in Bondi.
Sure. Just let me check if I have any apologies in case anyone has heard from Councillor Bolton. No. Oh, she's just coming now. I'll just come back to you with that. We'll wait for Councillor Bolton to join us. I need to also ask for disclosures of conflicts of interest. So, councillors, are there any conflicts of interest to disclose? No. Great. Councillor Miles is now you may propose that standing orders be suspended.
Yes, I'd like to ask the standing orders be suspended for a few minutes to allow the Mayor to have an opportunity to speak about what happened on Sunday at Bondi.
So if I have a seconder, thank you, Councillor Iwasaki. I'll put that to the vote. All those in favour? Against? I declare that carried. Thank you, Councillor Miles. So I would like to just make this statement on behalf of the Council and myself. We would sincerely like to express our deepest sympathies to the families and anyone else affected by the tragic events that occurred at Bondi on Sunday. We feel strongly that everybody deserves to be able to feel safe here. Our diverse community is our strength, and this has been the resounding message that I've heard over the last few days, that our diversity is our strength. More than ever now, this is a time to act with kindness and love in your heart. If you need help coping with what's happened in the last few days, remember that it is okay to ask for help. And I will encourage everybody that if they need to reach out and support each other. Thank you. I'd also like to mention that the Merri-bek City Council is one of a very, very long list of council signatories to a letter that pledges its support to the Jewish community at this awful time. Thank you. So, councillors, may I now have a motion that standing orders be resumed? Councillor Miles and Councillor Iwasaki, I'll put that to the vote. All those in favour, declare that carried. Thank you. Okay, I'll now move to the business of the meeting, which is item 4.1, Contract Award RFT 2025-46 West Street Shopping Strip Renewal Project. Councillor Miles and Councillor Irvin to second. Councillor Miles, would you like... Sorry?
I was trying to move it, so I went second.
Oh, sorry, I didn't realise.
So I'd like to move the alternative motion 2B.
Just 1 minute. Yeah, I just need to move to adjourn the meeting for 5 minutes. Councillor Iwasaki? Oh. Yeah. I can just adjourn. Thanks. Okay, we have Councillor Svensson online, so we can start the meeting again. Thank you, welcome. Councillor
Sorry for the tech difficulty.
Yeah, that's all right. We've got you now. Councillor Miles, you were moving an amended...
Yes, 2B.
Yep. And if I can ask for a seconder, Councillor Davidson. Councillor Miles, would you like to speak to the
Yeah, I'd
motion?
also like to add some additional points. Is it okay to go ahead now?
Yep.
Yeah. Council officers will make efforts to relocate the lost parking spaces within the shopping precinct.
Yep. So I'll just check if the governance team have got those words. Okay, so we'll just need a minute to get
No
that
worries.
across.
Sorry, let me bring it back up. Council officers will make efforts to relocate the lost parking spaces within the shopping precinct.
Councillor Miles, would you like to talk to the motion?
Yeah. So this has been a long time coming. This has been going on, the upgrades of West Street, since well before I was elected to council. West Street is an absolute diamond in the north of Merri-bek. They're almost become a victim of their own success, that West Street is one of the most busy shopping precincts in the north of Merri-bek. Doesn't matter what time of day you go, there can be at night, you can be there in the morning. It's constantly a hive of activity. And a lot of that credit needs to go to the shops. The shops have done so much work there to offer so much of their community. And at a time when we have such an issue where we only have two major supermarkets at the moment, where we have Coles and Safeways, West Street actually gives an opportunity for lesser prices, where we have the groceries, we have the butchers, we have the bakers, we have everything down there, and it's such a vital piece of space for our community up there. The council officers have done amazing work at looking at how we can make this area even better. Because it does deserve to be beautified. So it's a really amazing space. Some issues that came up last time was the loss that increased from 6 car parks being lost to 11, which is a major issue for the people who use West Street shops, as it is heavily used by cars to get there and get back. I had, in the gallery today, we have Nicole Hardwick, who's the Secretary of the West Street Traders Association and owner of the pharmacy, of Nelson's Pharmacy on West Street, saying to me that when carers come in to take their clients, I don't know if it's the right word, clients, the people they're caring for, into the shops, that sometimes they spend so much time driving around trying to get car spots that they end up having to leave the person there because they just run out of time and they need to get to the next person. Car parks are not just something that are a nicety to have, they're absolutely needed, especially in an ageing community that we have in the north of Merri-bek. So I really thank the council officers for all the work they did at trying to get back as many car spots as they have, because they are absolutely a necessity for the local shops and also for the community.
Thank you, Councillor Miles. Councillor Davidson, would you like to speak to the motion?
Yes, I would. Thank you, Councillor Miles, and I'd like to acknowledge the work that Councillor Miles has done in this particular shopping strip. He's walked that street twice, and once with myself, where we met all the traders along that street. The concern is that the traders were under the impression, due to consultation, that there were only going to be 5 car spaces removed at the difficult intersection at West Street. To then have it increased to 11 is something that wasn't acceptable, and not only to the traders, but also to the community who visit that particular strip, which is isolated in itself. It has a bus, but it is so car dependent, and used by families, the elderly, and people who want to support local businesses. And I really think that this is what it comes down to. It comes down to supporting local businesses, which is something that this council has stood by for years upon years. But to remove car spaces does the complete opposite to that. It says to the traders, no, we don't acknowledge your work. We now are prioritising something completely different to what the community need and what the traders deserve. The car spaces there are already at capacity and more car spaces are needed rather than less. It is a very unique strip because safety here is paramount, and you've got a strip that has a slip lane where cars can park, so it's not on the main road. The main road is West Street, and that's where the concern is regarding traffic. But in this strip, where cars drive slowly, where people are very conscious of movements around that particular inner strip, that's not where the safety issue is. The safety issue is at the top where West Street meets with the Safeway supermarket. It's a very difficult intersection. And that's where our focus needs to be, where the community was consulted on, where they know there is an issue, and where we need to rectify it as the responsible authority for that particular street. To disadvantage traders and the community without the proper consultation that's deserved would be a huge setback for this particular local shopping strip that is doing so well and that needs more car spaces and not less, particularly given its unique positioning where it has a small slip lane where cars can park, which then slows down traffic by itself by the nature of that particular slip lane. This is in the north. This is home to myself, Councillor Kat Theodosis, Councillor Yildiz, and Councillor Bolton. We know this particular strip incredibly well. We visit it regularly, and I've always pledged to support local businesses, and that's what I'm doing tonight. And I think the alternate motion that Chris has put lends itself towards that, and particularly the amendment at the end where we pledge to find the additional car spaces that we have lost within that shopping strip so that the traders are not disadvantaged.
Thank you, Councillor Davidson. I didn't have a clock, but I think that's about 3 minutes.
Thank you.
Is there a councillor that would like to speak against the motion? Councillor Irvin?
Thank you, Mayor. And thanks for providing the background to that, Councillor Miles. As was mentioned, there was a design that went out to the community and was received really well. And following that, as part of the final approvals for the project, a road safety audit was conducted. And what this is a formal audit of designs that highlights any safety issues and makes recommendations. And in this case, there was a recommendation for a consistent pedestrian crossing treatment throughout the shopping strip. And it included, ensuring that there were adequate pedestrian zebra crossings of the slip lane. And what zebra crossings do is they provide certainty for people that they are able to cross. And, this is especially important for people who are, maybe less confident crossing a road, who do have disability or who are vulnerable road users. Adding in these zebra crossings means that some car parks need to be removed to ensure that the crossings meet standards and that there are suitable sight lines. And the reason that this item was deferred from last week's meeting was to try to address concerns around that additional loss of parking. I'm speaking against this motion because I think the road safety auditor's original recommendations should be accepted. We've heard that there are many older and vulnerable people that rely on these local shops, and we have a duty of care to those people and everyone else to ensure a safe walking environment. Everyone accessing the shops is a pedestrian. Even drivers have to walk to their shops from their car. So pedestrian safety is everyone's safety. We have to consider everyone's needs when we make decisions. So let's actually talk about parking. We've heard through engagement that parking is important for traders and for people accessing the shops. Congestion builds up here due to a lack of parking availability and people driving around looking for a park. So what are some viable alternatives to this? Because we can't exactly raise the surrounding blocks to build car parks. One way to genuinely solve this problem is to give people options for how they travel to the shop. We see in the engagement data that there's actually a huge overlap in how people travel. I think some councillors who say that this is a car-dependent area might be surprised to hear that 65% of people actually walk to these shops. And there's overlap. They might walk for some trips, they might drive for some trips. 74% of people do travel by car, and 15% sometimes ride by bike, and 4% get the bus. So there's a lot of overlap, and we really need to consider all of these access modes when we're looking at new designs. And any solution to parking has to really look at how we can boost those walking, riding, and bus trips. And I think that making the street safer and more attractive, as we're doing through this project, is a step towards that. But safety is crucial in that final design.
Thank you, Councillor.
I would actually just like to foreshadow that I would move the original officer's recommendation.
Thank you. Councillor Theodosis.
Thank you, Mayor. I would like to speak in favour of the motion that Councillor Miles has put forward with the amendment. As a councillor who represents the southern end of Hadfield and West Street, and is a councillor that is also a Hadfield resident, I am deeply concerned by a potential dramatic reduction of car parking on West Street. The impact on the flow and the impacts of accessibility, road safety for our residents, and the survival of our beloved local shopping strips, of which there are fewer and fewer across Melbourne. As someone who is on West Street multiple times a week, who lives and breathes this area, I know firsthand what the safety concerns are on this street. I am someone who has been both a motorist and a pedestrian in this area, and I can say right now that none of the key issues for residents accessing this central part of our community would be addressed with an even further reduction of parking. I am also deeply concerned by the lack of notice and engagement that was conducted with traders and residents on the actual amount of car parking that could potentially be lost. Anyone who understands West Street knows that a dramatic reduction in car parks would actually in fact increase the threat to safety for both pedestrians and drivers. Cars are often at a complete standstill down the slip lane, waiting for car spots, and this backs all the way up to the Woolies on the dangerous corner intersection. Because of the configuration of this intersection, all 4 lanes of that road are often stuck there waiting. Drivers are then often confused and make dangerous manoeuvres due to poor traffic management. A dramatic reduction of parking does not address this primary issue which council should be prioritising when it comes to street management on West Street. Hadfield is also home to a large number of elderly residents, including those with a migrant background, who are more than likely driving down to their local fruit and veg shop and doing their groceries. They need access to car parking. As our community densifies and gets bigger, the reality is more people will have cars. I strongly urge councillors to support this revised officer's recommendation, which stays truer to what was part of the consultation, will help minimise further road safety issues in the future and supports our local community. Thank you.
Thank you, Councillor Theodosis. Is there a councillor that would like to speak against the motion? Councillor Iwasaki.
Yeah, thank you. I'd like to speak against the motion in that I think that we are a bit overstating the impacts of the reduction in car parking here and underestimating the impacts to safety. So if 3 to 5 car parks means the death of a shopping precinct, I think we're in big trouble across the city. The reality is that this is not a dramatic reduction in car parks, and equating car parks with safety goes against common sense. As the community densifies in an area where there's no more room to put in car parks, more people will be walking and seeking alternative forms of transportation, and they need to be walking and getting to these shops safely. If you look at the development of the area, there's a lot of single-story blocks being turned into townhouses. That means a 3 to 6 times increase in densification. And those people in that immediate 200-meter radius around the shops are going to be walking here, and they're going to be using the crosswalks. And having one less zebra crossing is one more point of danger. If one pram is hit by a driver because we left out a zebra crossing and they didn't see that pram crossing, will have failed our duty as councillors and in fact may be legally liable for the injury to that child or that person. There are many other options to increase the availability of car parking, such as adjustments in time of parking and increasing the permeability of the area to other ways of driving. But we have to acknowledge that as the population grows, there isn't the space to put in those car parks. And so we need to encourage and support alternative ways for people to get to those shops. that's what makes a community thrive and also what makes communities safe.
Thank you, Councillor Iwasaki. Councillor in support, Councillor Yildiz.
For those of us that actually live or have lived in Glenroy or near West Street, I have lived in East Street, did own a property in Charles Street, which runs off Middle Street. Councillor Miles, Councillor Davidson, Councillor Theodosies, we actually know the area like the back of our hands because we go there quite regularly. I'm there at least 2-3 times a week, even though I live in Pascoe Vale South. Residents that live in and around that shopping precinct barely get car parking now. They're parking streets away. Most residents in that area do walk to West Street because they wouldn't bother trying to get car parking there as it is now because it is so congested and there isn't enough car parking at the moment that is there right now. In terms of even Woolworths, people are parking in the Woolworths car park to be able to access the southern part of that shopping precinct. So anyone that actually knows the area and has lived in the area, like the people that are arguing in favour of this, it's actually critical for business. And I know nearly every one of those business owners along that strip. Nicole, the guys at the meat place, Johnny at the fruit shop, Jenny at the Taslotto joint, the guys at the corner there, the Lebanese family, both of them. I mean, this is critical for our older residents. It's critical for people with disabilities. It's critical for our business people. This will destroy business. Any removal, even one car park, will have a dramatic impact. Councillor Miles has been smart enough and has gone there and spoken to the businesses. He can see what's going on there. Helen Davidson drives past there every day, so does Kat. I do as well. These works are needed, but removing car parks will impact the businesses. And you know what? Why don't we do this then? Why don't we close all the businesses down and then not have any business? Remove all the car parks and let's just walk around the streets. Is that what we want? Because that's what's going to happen if we dare remove any car parking along West Street. Businesses will close down. 342 businesses close down in Victoria every single day. They are leaving Victoria. And all we're doing, or what we should be doing, is encouraging and supporting business, not making motherhood statements which unfortunately don't help the businesses. That's my arguments anyway.
Thank you, Councillor Yildiz. Councillor Svensson.
Thank you. Look, I wholeheartedly I can hear the concern about parking, and I don't think any of us doubt that the shopping in the area is really stretched when it comes to parking. The issue is, however, that, as has been pointed out, unless we are to somehow magically lift buildings, we're unable to put more car parking in the spots where it already is. And in order to improve safety, some car parks do need to be removed. The motion that's been moved by Councillor Miles does indeed involve a reduction in car parking. What we're talking about is two different motions that involve different degrees of car parking loss. Both motions involve removing car parking for essential safety upgrades. And the difference between the two is actually only 4 car parks. So we're talking about a whole grand total of 4 car parks difference, but we're actually doubling the amount of pedestrian crossings. I think that's really important to think about, is we're not talking about 0 car park loss versus 400 car park loss. We're talking about 4 car parks difference. And by removing those 4 extra car parks, that allows us to actually do what the experts who understand the need for traffic safety in the area, to actually do what they're recommending. So we're not suggesting that we massively increase the number of car parks that are being removed. This is a small increase to ensure that we're improving pedestrian safety, as has been highlighted by the experts in the area. I do not doubt that there's pressure on parking, but that pressure, as has been noted, is only going to increase. The state government has decided that we're going to have an enormous number of people moving into the area of Merri-bek. Those people have to go somewhere, and as we densify, we're going to have more pressure on our car parking and more people are going to need to walk. So this, by supporting the original officer's motion and voting against this motion, that allows us to actually be forward thinking and thinking about how do we actually ensure the safety not only of residents who live there at the moment, but also the residents who are going to be moving into the area over the coming years.
Thank you, Councillor Svensson. Councillor Bolton.
I mean, I think this whole saga has developed because there was consultation. Then in the process of detailed design, there was a process of going to the road safety auditor, which is an important process in terms of making sure that, you know, road design is safe and sight lines are clear. And that road safety audit process caused some changes to be made, which would have a big impact on the area. And then at that point, council should have consulted the people they originally consulted and not gone straight to tender. And so we're in this difficult situation because council went straight to tender after the road safety audit process, which made, you know, and so I think my position is I support this motion. And it is true, Councillor Svensson's right, it probably is only 4 car parking spaces. But I think it is true that the most critical, unsafe area of the strip is the northern end of the strip where West Street, Glenroy Road and Guillaume Street come together. And it is, I can't believe that whichever council or state government or whoever was or developer was responsible for that mess designed that with a slip lane also added into the mix, because it is horrendously dangerous and very congested. You know, I personally would prefer extra pedestrian crossings, but I think the road safety auditor did come back with supplementary advice today to indicate that it was possible to remove one of the secondary crossings and still leave the other one there. So this motion will reduce car parks, but not to the same extent. And while 4 car parks might not seem a lot, if you visit that shopping centre regularly, you will know that it is maybe 10 years ago, it might have been easy to get a park, but it's, you know, very difficult now. And really, I can't actually personally see where you could create extra lost car parks. I personally can't, because I know those streets around that area. I visit that area quite regularly. Really, I think the only thing you could do that might relieve the area is if there was a commitment from the state government for 10-minute buses, which, you know, ran all hours, so that actually there would be another way of people getting to the shops. But, you know, yeah, that's probably unlikely to happen in the short term, given that, you know, the bus system is so looked down on in this city.
Thank you, Councillor
So
Bolton.
anyway, I'm supporting this motion.
Thank you, Councillor Bolton. What I'm going to do now is put it to the vote. All those in favour of Councillor Miles' amended motion? Against? And I declare that carried. Thank you. Of course, yeah. All those in favour? Councillor Yildiz, Councillor Theodosis, Councillor Politis, Councillor Aboud, Councillor Miles, Councillor Davidson and Councillor Bolton. Against? Councillor Iwasaki, Councillor Irvin and Councillor Svensson. Thanks, everybody. Okay. So that concludes the business of the special council meeting this evening, and I'd like to thank everybody watching live streaming or in the gallery and for your interest in council matters, and wish you all a good evening. And I now declare the council meeting closed at just after 6:30. If one meeting is in an